Okay, people. Well, it's almost 5 o'clock
4:59 p.m.
Pacific time. I'm going to start our introduction music in a second. Got big news about that I'm excited to share. Unfortunately, this audio FaceTime thing's not working with two people. I'm sending messages to Andrea and Mike. And Mike is on with me. Hello, Mikey.
Hello.
But Andrea says it'll ring once and then it disconnects and won't let her answer. So we'll just have to figure it out another time. So again, A-Dog's getting left out in the cold.
4:59 p.m.
Not 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'll start the music up in a second. This has really been a rat race for you, those of you that haven't heard already. The Zoom thing just wasn't working. I couldn't get them connected with me. So I have Mikey just on audio FaceTime, so it'll be more like a show. I went with the glasses because I hate the fact that I'm all by myself on the camera. But Mikey, I want you to know, for tonight's show, I threw on the West Coast Dogs jersey, baby.
5 p.m.
Oh, cool.
And it is 5 o'clock, so let us go. What's that? Say that again.
I said I got a few of those.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. But we're getting into that out during the show. Let's go. Oh! Yeah! Welcome back to the Beat Ball Blues show. It's only the second show, and it's going to be the best show ever in the history of the Beat Ball Blues show. The music you are hearing, Mikey, I'll turn it down so they can hear you. Do you recognize that Sacramento band, Mike Dog? Mike Dog, Sacramento band!
No, I couldn't hear the music.
The Beer Dogs! Oh! For those...
Now I can hear it.
For those of you that were here in Sacramento for the 1999 World Series at the banquet, there were a couple guitar players playing original music. That was the Sacramento band, good friends of mine, the Beer Dogs. They are no longer together. Slim Bob Pierce, who wrote all the songs and ran the band, now lives down San Antonio, Texas. Goes by Slim Bob, B-A-W-B, Slim Bob Pierce, and the fabulous Stomp Grinders or something like that. Playing all over the Texas area, all over San Antonio, all over Austin. I believe they even go as far as Houston, but you got once we get back up and running in the country, you're going to have all kinds of opportunity to check out Slim Bob Pierce. But here in the Beat Ball Blues show, they are our sponsor band, baby. I'm going to be posting this show up on YouTube, Mike Dog, and there's copyright issues. And I started out last week by playing See the Light by Jeff Healey, because he's a blind blues guitar player, one of my favorites, a guy I had an opportunity to go backstage and meet once back in 1993. But, now we're going to be going worldwide. It's got copyright issues, so I reached out to my good buddy Bob, and he gave me all permission to use Beer Dog music, Slim Bob music, whatever we want to do. And there's a little bit of dog history, West Coast dog history. They spell it beer, D-A-W-G, and that's where I got the spelling for the West Coast dogs, D-A-W-G. So, a little history. You probably knew at some point, Mike, and just didn't care, so you forgot.
No, very cool. I knew that. Well, I kind of figured it out when I saw the Beer Dog's name.
One last little note with this before we run out of music. I wasn't sure what song I wanted to go with. I was actually going to go with another song. And then I just had their songs kind of shuffling for a while, and this popped up. And for one, this is one of my all-time favorites by the Beer Dogs. I love this song. But two, for tonight's topic, it's perfect. The name of this song, Mikey, is Just Don't Eat What You Can't Spell. Yeah! That's my boy, Bob Pierce, picking. That guy is a Mark Knepfler level finger picker, boy. But Mikey, I can't spell vegetable. I can't spell broccoli. I can't spell carrots. You know what I can't spell? I spell M&M. I can spell ho ho. But I have a feeling you're not going to be okay with all that. So let's get on to some serious business. I am so happy. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I am your 2000 offensive MVP, 5-time world champion, Neil Get It Doneer, because I've been getting it done, even though this whole thing's kind of gone full circle. When I first had this vision a week and a half ago, I figured I was going to have Andrea, who I reached out to asking to be a co-host, and a guest of some sort each week on my iPad doing FaceTime, and I would hold my iPhone and like have like you guys on a video FaceTime and hold one phone up to the iPad and triangulate me in somewhere in there, and then the Zoom and Messenger and all these things we could do, we never got done. And full circle, I come all the way back, and here we are. I got you on audio FaceTime. I'm not going to hold my iPad up all show. I hate that I'm going to be looked at only, but you know, I mean, Andrea's not here with us. Obviously, we can get that working. But I figured we got Andrea, and, you know, that's a dog, so enough said. Then we got the healthiest man in America, maybe in the world, Mike Dog, and me, and I'm the only one on camera, and that didn't make it makes no sense in the world, but it's what we have left. But I'm so happy to have Mike Finn as our first guest. I mean, Mikey's a good friend of mine. We played ball for a long time until I stepped away from the game in 2009. Mike Finn and I had played more games as a West Coast Dog than any other players in the history of the team. And now Mikey's got 2 more years plus 2 more championships from on top of that. So the West Coast Dogs, one of the most decorated franchises in our league's history, and Mike Finn has played more games than any other West Coast Dog, more championships in a West. Well, I guess that's not true. You and Eric have equal amount of championships in a West Coast Dog uniform, but yep, more games played than any other member of the West Coast Dogs. My friend Mikey P. Welcome to the show, Mike Dog. Thanks for coming on. Oh, man, I got a couple show notes I would like to throw out real quick. We already dealt with the tech issues. I want to say thanks to Steve Guerra for spending so much time, even though nothing he tried to help me do work. He spent a lot of time helping. Also, I want to give a little shout out to Jared Woodard, who has agreed to come on the show next week. We're going to be highlighting pitching next week. So I want to give a little shout out. Thank Jared for agreeing to come on. To be a great guest to deal with our pitching episode. So just wanted a little show note of what's coming up. Mikey, I keep calling you Mikey P. I was calling you that on my previous show. I actually told everybody you were going to come on. You owed it to me. I got you into beat ball. So you're going to come on whether you wanted to or not at some point. I'm glad you're here now. People are going to be confused that Finn might be spelled P-H-I-N because we call you Mikey P.
True.
So that is a nickname, people, that goes back to the Dogs. When we first started the Dogs, that was Mike's introduction to beat ball. And we were all, and honest, that's why we changed our name to the Dogs, because since like 1990, Eric was E-Dog, Seth was Seth Dog, I was Neil Dog. Seth ultimately gave me a little, even though the nation knows him as Bam Bam, that's who I'm saying. People like, Seth, who's Seth? Bam Bam to the Beat Ball nation. Yeah, he was always Seth Dog to us. He gave me kind of a twist on the nickname of Devil Dog, but everybody's, my nieces, nephews, everybody calls me Neil Dog. So not a lot of math that trying to get my earpiece right. There's not a lot of math that went into the dogs, what our nicknames. It's pretty easy, but we're going to say be somebody dog. But Mikey was Mikey P because he was the little pup. He was even though he was the same age as us, he was our little pup. But I was wondering, Mike, do you remember the nickname you had before Mikey P?
No, I don't.
Remember Scott, my longtime friend I grew up with, was my roommate at the time, and
Yep,
he was
Scott.
doing a little bit of pitching plus one of our spotters at the time.
Yep.
When we, this was even before you became the workout freak that you are now, or like the fitness, just guru that you are now. Mike, you ran everywhere. You lived how far did you live from me? Like 3 miles, something like. Maybe
it was about
2,
4, actually.
4. Yeah. This dude would run to my house before practice. Our Batman, our right field spotter, ultimately a Hall of Fame spotter. He and Chris Hunsucker, first spotters to go in the Hall of Fame. Batman would at least drive like halfway to your house. You'd be like, "Hey, Mike, want to ride?" Like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll run." And so all our equipment was here at my house. We always met at my house. And we practiced at a little schoolyard just around the block, and Mike would run from my house to there. And when we were driving, all the rest of us lazy fools were in the van, Batman's big old caravan. All these blind dudes hanging out the window going, "Run, Forrest, run!" So we called you Forrest Gump for a while, but then, once you became a starter, like straight out of the gate, that was Mikey P.
Yep. Then it turned into Puppy Dog.
Man, I can't spend the whole night telling stories because we roomed together. We had tournaments where we roomed together after Mike and Nadine got married. Mike, you and Nadine and I roomed together more than once, and it's not the embarrassing story I have promised you. And actually, even though I haven't told you this, our show last night didn't post anywhere, so nobody heard my commitment that I'm going to tell you something. One of my world's biggest shames that it's just been between God and I. That wasn't recorded, so I didn't have to stick to it, but I wrote it down in the group today, so I'm still committed. This isn't this is a big shame, but it's not the biggest. The last year we roomed together, I think, was 2006 in Cleveland, and we had made it to the championship.
Hello?
You don't hear me?
Oh, now I do.
Yay! Don't! Not after all this. So the last time we roomed together was 2006 in Cleveland, and we got to the championship game, but that was the series that we had eliminated the consolation bracket, but we had not yet switched to a 5-day tournament. And we had to come up through the losers bracket. I think we played 10 games in 4 days.
We played a lot.
And had we won,
concrete fields too.
Yeah, that was the year we were playing basically in a cement parking lot.
It was just hard dirt.
So, we had to play to get in the championship game Saturday morning, and then we played the championship game, and because of the concrete fields, the games were like 4 hours long, high scoring affairs. But anyway, so I was, and I'm making up excuses. I was always the last to get out of my uniform and get showered up to go for dinner or wherever. Neil Dogg's a lagger. And I took a quick shower. It's the last one to get ready for the banquet. Took a quick shower, went to the banquet. I found out later that I was good. Every time I roomed with you guys, I was really respectful of Nadine because I've lived by myself since 1994. I'm a pig, man. But I was really respectful of Nadine and her space when we were rooming together, and she came back from the banquet, And on the bathroom floor was every single thing that had been on my body, both on the outside and inside. 'Cause I forgot to pick up all of it, and I was so embarrassed. But she was a gentle lady about it. But that I love Nadine, and I do want to tell one story because it was one of my favorite beat ball stories, and then we'll dive into beat ball. But this story is one of the greatest beat ball stories I experienced. I tell young people, man, enjoy it, because when it's over, it's all really just the memories. The games are all a blur, but my memories of fun stuff are pretty clear. And in '05, after we only lasted 2 days. It was the first time we came back as the West Coast Dogs. We got bounced in the second day, as cocky as we were. Duh, West Coast Dogs, cocky? No. That was after we added Lupe, so we took cocky to another level, probably. But after we got knocked out, we all went out to dinner as a team at Outback Steakhouse.
I know this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're at Outback Steakhouse, and they're going around singing happy birthday to people, and I fell in love with their little birthday song. It got a little beat. They're walking around in a group, singing, dancing, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So, fast forward towards the end of the night, people are wrapping up, the last drinks, paying, doing all that stuff. And the tournament was over. I was about at least 3 Jack and Cokes in. And I was dehydrated, Houston heat. I hadn't been drinking, so 3 Jack and Cokes was plenty for whatever. And I hear that song fire up, and I start clapping, and I'm dancing, and I'm in rhythm with them. And they walk up straight behind me and tap me on the shoulder. Nadine had told them it was my birthday.
And you turned beat red.
It actually might have been Batman that told him, but what makes me think of Nadine is she told me that when she saw me start dancing, she almost peed her pants. Oh man, the great memories. It was so much fun. So I love playing with you, Mikey P. Loved playing with you.
Good stuff.
All right, man. Give our audience an introduction to Mike Finn. Act like these people never heard of you. How'd you get from before beat ball to where you are now?
All right. Well, I'll go way back. I'll go all the way back to when I was 14. I was really overweight. I wasn't near as tall as I am now. I was only about 5'4", and I was about 220 pounds.
They call you Steve Guerra? Sorry. Sorry, Steve. I know you don't deserve that.
So, and I wanted to get involved in more sports, and at 5'4" and 220, that was a bit hard to do. So,
offensive line? You play center?
So I started working on, getting in better shape and things like that, so that by the time I graduated high school, I was at about 175 and 6 feet tall, and ran quite a bit. Started getting into track, and so my initial, once I got out of high school, was getting involved in track in junior college, and then into the Paralympics. I went to the Paralympics for sprinting in 1992 to Barcelona, and then went on to the World Championships in track and field in Berlin and competed in the pentathlon.
To interrupt real quick, I remember the 1994 World Series, which was your first World Series. That and your pentathlon, I remember, didn't they you competed those two things in real close proximity at time.
Oh, yeah. I got home from Germany like 3 days, I think, at most, before we took off and flew to Florida.
I remember it being close. That must have been crazy, I would never work that hard. It must have been crazy training for both things. Not that you knew.
Well, it was crazy for. Well, there was other things too. I got thrown into the 4x400 relay while I was in Germany too. We had some injuries on the team, and last minute, like the night before the actual semifinals were gonna go off, it's like coach called me to go to his room, and he's like, "Hey, we need you to run a leg in the 4x400 relay," and I'm like, "Whoa, what?" It's like, you got to be kidding. He goes, "Nope, we need you." So yeah, we did a lot there, and then came back and flew to Florida, and then played however many games we played in Florida. We didn't last too long in Florida, unfortunately, because you dislocated your shoulder.
Yeah, that was not the most fun tournament for me.
But one way or the other, you, Eric Mazarigos, Seth, Roger Brock, he didn't push me too much, but the three of you guys were like, come out, try beat ball, stuff like that. So, and I did, and I gave you guys the commitment as I'd go to the series and, play the year and see if I liked it. And, once going to the series and getting into the involved in the games and stuff like that, it's pretty much hooked. So, that was 94, and now, 9 world championships later, played with the Dogs through 2011, and then went over and I've been playing with the Austin Blackhawks ever since.
Whoop it up.
And, that's a whole crazy thought in itself. I kind of freak out every time I do the cheer with the team. I can't believe I'm doing the cheer with the team because I used to hate the cheer when we were the Dogs. But yeah, enjoyed the game, enjoyed playing sports, and through all of that, got into the career of being more into health and fitness, became a personal trainer, added in nutrition and massage work, and now I'm pretty much what I call myself more of a performance and recovery coach, where I work with some athletes as well as your everyday workforce of people, of keeping them strong and healthy and functional, and get them to recover quickly, so whether it's from injury or just from their training, so that they can, perform their best at whatever it is that they want to do.
All right. This probably doesn't mean anything because I'm never going to own a professional team of any kind. But I swear on my mama's grave, I don't know if that's like evil to do that. I'm trying to do something positive. I'm trying to say how much I mean this. If I owned a franchise of any kind, I would hire you to completely not just run the training program of all the players. I would hire you to instruct the kitchen on how to prepare proper meals for everybody. I mean, that's how highly I think of everything you do in your profession and how good you are at it.
Well, I appreciate that.
I've got to do it. If I don't give you some plugs, I doubt I'll keep getting free advice. So I told you this in the show that nobody got to hear. I believe in foundation, building things properly. If you want it to last, if you want it to be successful, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, something in your personal life, a business, whatever, you start with a foundation. If you don't, it's no different, excuse me, than building a house. If you don't lay in a proper foundation, everything you put on top of it eventually is going to collapse once you just put too much on top of a bad foundation. And so with our beat ball players, trying to get them better, like I said to you last night, our only real tool is our body and our mind. And so if we don't work on getting that right, the rest in the end won't matter long term. So I thought it would. That's why I thought the first show should be on conditioning, health and conditioning. Speaking of which, I do try to put these titles in, everybody, when I start these live feeds, and I just get all bumbled up with my fingers. So I'll always go back afterwards and make sure there's a proper title in. I'm sorry that they sound so silly because I get partway through it, I mess up, and I realize it's going to take too long to fix. When I use Siri and do it, it for some reason, like, at least to me, shows up as blank. So so the name of this episode is going to be, when I go back and get it done, health and conditioning. And I figure, that's got to be the foundation to everything else we're doing in this sport. So let's start out with nutrition, because that's obviously another area where you're an expert.
Yeah, well, the nutritional side of things is so important because your body's made out of what you put in it. So it's always, whenever somebody comes to me and says, how can, I improve? The easiest way to improve is through eating better and eating healthier. So also because of the frequency. So most people eat 3 meals a day, so that's 21 meals a week roughly. And, even if you exercised every day of the week, which I don't typically recommend, that would still only be 7. So, and, I only exercise about 3 days a week, somewhere around there. And so those 3 workouts comparatively to 21 times of eating is, your eating is way over the top of where you're going to get your performance.
Right.
So, and that's why, nutrition is such a big, important deal. And my main focus is I really just try to keep it simple for people. I try to use the analogy of, if you owned a zoo and you had tigers and zebras and human beings in there, your tigers are big carnivore animals and they need to eat, primarily meat. And your zebras are herbivores and they primarily need to eat grass. And if you fed the tigers grass, they would get sick and they would die and you would lose your investment. And the same thing is if you fed the zebras meat, they would get sick and they would die and you'd lose your investment there. And with your humans over, hundreds of thousands of years now have been eating vegetables and meat and bits of fruit when they are in season and available and ripe. So, and unfortunately on these days, everything's become, packaged and processed and refined grains and refined sugars and all this other kind of stuff. And the human body just can't handle so much of all that. And so my biggest first concern is always just eat the way that Mother Nature intended us to eat, and trying to eat plenty of good fresh vegetables and good quality meats and eggs and fish and that sort of thing, and fruits when they're in season and available, so that we keep our body flowing smoothly and giving it all the nutrition it needs to build stronger and be faster and be in a more appropriate body weight at the same time.
I always love how you use really simple examples. I'm a simpleton. I take that term from Bam Bam, but I'm a total simpleton. I always love how you break it down. I'd like to share some things I remember as you helped me over the years.
Right.
That I've shared with as many people as will listen, and see if you still think of these things as on target. For one, like with meat, like say with chicken, it's good to both eat the white and the dark meat, because they have different proteins. You're giving your body different nutrients with the different color meats.
Yeah. So I can't remember the guy's name. I was just watching one of his videos or something like that. There's a guy out there. He's written a lot of books about the carnivore diet. And his big thing is eating nose to tail is what he calls it, to where you eat parts from the entire animal, because the different DNA structures in the different tissue go directly to that area in your body. So, like, if you've got a really unhealthy liver, you should be, having liver once in a while, because that nutrition from that liver, as long as it's a really good healthy liver that you're eating, is going to help support your liver. Same thing goes with like joints and bone mass and stuff like that. That's why I'm big on things like bone broth and making broth for soup, and having that on a regular basis so your bones stay strong and your joints stay strong and your connective tissue stays strong. Because especially in beep ball, especially over the course of the World Series, when you're going 5 days and you're playing 3 games a day, especially the first couple of days, I mean your body's taking a beating.
Right.
And the only way that your connective tissue can handle that beating and still continue to go without, slowing you down is if you have it really, really strong going into it.
And then also another thing I've kept, because so many people are always looking for boneless, skinless, and it's best to eat the skin. That's the best. Like, animal fat is the closest fat to our own, and we have to replenish fat cells just like we have to replenish proteins and vitamins. And animal fat is the closest fat to our own fat. And chicken skin or skin to stuff like that is one of the healthier fats we can get, correct?
Yeah, as well as, skin is the biggest organ of the body, and it's highly nutritious. So that's why, sometimes I'll get people that say, oh yeah, I got all this loose skin on my body, and, I've been losing weight, but I got all this loose skin and it won't go away.
Eat it! It's healthy!
Well, your body hangs on to it because it's so nutritious. And until it realizes that you're going to give it good nutrition on a regular basis, it will hang on to that extra skin. So, because it doesn't want to get rid of that nutrition. It wants to hang on to it. So, It's so important that, we eat the highly nutritious parts of both animals and plants and everything else. So...
And the other thing I've always remembered on the vegetables, well, I guess it's probably the same with fruits also, but I think, am I correct in thinking we should always focus more on vegetables? Try to get more vegetables than fruits.
You cut out there for a second.
Am I right in saying that we should always try to focus on getting more vegetables than fruits?
Yeah. So my typical rule of thumb is like a good 5 cups of vegetables a day. And focus on that because vegetables have more nutrition, and more fiber in them and things like that, as opposed to fruit. Fruit has a little bit more sugar in it, which is, fine. It's still good sugar for you. But it has more antioxidants and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So both of them are really good. But I do try to get people to focus more on the vegetables first.
All right.
Rather than the fruit.
The simple part I was going to throw out there that I remember is mixing the colors, because different color vegetables have different vitamins for your body. So it's good to focus on green vegetables one day, red vegetables another, yellow another. You still preaching that?
Yeah, we call that eating the rainbow.
Yeah. Sounds every bit as fun as eating the ice cream cake.
But yeah, lots of colors, because it's everything from different nutrients, different enzymes, different flavonoids. Everything is different when you got a different color. So even if it's like the same vegetable, so like there's different nutrients in a yellow bell pepper as opposed to a red one or an orange one. And so there's, so much variety out there, and that's more of what it is. A lot of times when I first start working with people, I give them a whole list of vegetables, and all I say is I just cross off all the ones that you don't like. And then once you get that all done, then you can sit there and you can see all the other ones that you do like, and then start eating a wide variety of those. And then also focusing on trying to eat with the seasons. It's real easy to just do like a Google search and say, what's in season right now, and it will bring up a whole list. And then, get seasonal stuff because your body likes that rotation of
Right.
eating with what's in season at the time.
And so this is why I also thought that the health and fitness should go up first, because honestly, this is stuff that can help players, pitchers, spotters, parents sitting on the sideline watching the game. You know what I mean? This is stuff that everybody should take in. You shouldn't do this for beat ball. This is for life type stuff.
Oh yeah, well Tim Hibner is like, he's all over it now, and he's focused so much more on eating healthier and things like that, because of what we've talked about over the years, and he's dropped weight, and body works really good, stays strong and healthy, so he can pitch multiple games, and I don't know, Timmy's in his 60s now, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Timmy's a old man. Oh, but I love that dude. It's unfortunate that there's no amount of training you can offer that protects him from all those shots to the head he takes.
Quick reflexes.
All right. I'm unless you have more to add on, I'm going to move on to the workout portion. You,
Yeah, let's just say one. You can't. The easiest way to do it is to just focus one day at a time, and it's consistency. It's not a matter of what you do today. It's a matter of what you do over the course of, and this kind of goes with all of this, but it's a matter of what you do over the course of the month, the quarter, the year, 5 years. It's accumulative, and so therefore, the more days in a row you can stack together, the better your results are going to be. So, and especially with that, nutrition and focusing on it, and it also gets easier with every single day. So.
Good words. Good words. Give me a second, because even though I don't plan on going through quiet, I don't plan to go through the whole workout item by item. There were a couple things I wanted to ask questions about on the workout. So
yeah.
All right. Before I get to my questions, first I just want to tell everybody what I asked from Mike was I came to you last week when you agreed to do the show and said, look, I want something that we can give to everybody. I'm totally blind and live by myself. I know how difficult it can be to get out and do workout stuff sometimes. Not saying it's impossible. I know there are a lot of people out there doing it. But I wanted everybody all the way down to any individual player who lives off by themselves somewhere and doesn't have a ton of opportunity to go out, not only to go like outside their house and do a lot of working out, but also might not be in a financial situation to go out and buy new equipment and stuff. And so Mikey came up with a beat ball specific workout that everybody can do. I'm not going to run down the workout. One, I'm going to post it in the Beatball Nation for everybody to have access to. Two, you can reach out to me, leave me a private message. If you want me to email it to you, send me a private message with your email address, or send me an email at nealdawg, NEALDAWG @gmail.com. And I will get both this and the running workout that we're going to get to. So I don't want to go down item by item with the workout, but all of this stuff in this workout, you will see that it's all stuff you can do in your house, or at least right outside your house. You don't need any help. You don't need any new equipment. Including he included a whole warm up drill, which to me, Mike, this was like a game changer for us when you really got into your new profession. One of the first things you changed is we stopped stretching before practice. We started warming up before practice. and much you put pretty much a lot of the stuff we did in our warm up drills before every practice and before the beginning of game days every day. And I think it's important for people to understand the difference between stretching and warming up. Why did you switch us up to warming up rather than stretching?
Well, so with most of the big team sports out there, whether it's beat ball or basketball or regular baseball or football, it's an explosive activity where you basically, like beat ball, plays over in 6 seconds. So you got to be explosive and powerful, and then you get time to rest and recover before the next play happens. And so stretching is great for the body and is really good to be doing after the games and on your days off when you're not, actually working out and that sort of thing. But right before the games, stretching tends to tone the body down and to calm the body down rather than ramp it up to make it explosive and powerful. And so when you do more functional, dynamic, and even explosive movements, like we finish off our warm-ups now with like squat jumps.
Yeah, we did. No, you didn't include that, but squat jumps, we would do like 10 squat jumps before a darn game, man. It killed me. Killed me.
Your body all excited and your nervous system all excited and ramped up, and so then it's like, ready to explode, and that's what you really need when you hit that ball and you got to come out of that box, or when the number's called and you're out there in the field, you got to explode and get to the ball as fast as you can so you can make the out. So it's the same thing with that warm-up is you need to do, you can throw some stretching into your warm-up, and we throw a little bit in there, but for the most part, we finish off at least the last 3 or 4 things are all more explosive kind of activities.
All right. So in this workout, and by the way, I'll admit I have not worked out on a consistent basis. I've been pretty good about my morning walks for the most part. I've got about a 2.5 mile course around my neighborhood that I've done for years and years.
Yep.
I won't lie. I've used the hibernation of COVID-19. I think I'm on day 30 since somebody's last been inside my house other than me. Me and Huggy Bear, who's holding my phone. So I'll admit that I've used that as an excuse for not doing a lot of walking. But man, I have flat. I get into doing working out, a couple days a week, and then I stop for a while, and that while ends up being a long time every time. And I'm in that rut now. So I, Mikey, am committing to this workout that you have shared, even though I'm not going to be playing beat ball. I'm not committing to the running workout that we're going to get to. When I read your running workout, Mike, I was like, I am so glad I don't play anymore. He'd have me doing this stupid stuff. But we'll get to that. But I'm going to do this workout, people. And Mike, you'll see in the instructions says that you could go through this routine once, like a minimum of once a week. I'm going to go through this routine at least twice this week. And you people are planning on playing beat ball. So I hope you at least commit to that much. But part of the workout is push-ups. And you said that you could do them flat on the ground, use a coffee table, or use like a countertop.
Yep.
So, and I've only been doing them flat on the ground when I do push-ups forever. I've never tried them on the countertop or whatever, which I'm going to do now because obviously I've been doing, when I do my workouts, it's 90% is like still, probably 100%, still the same stuff you had me doing when I was playing beat ball. Maybe not like it, I don't have to do it as hard or as often, but that's the stuff I'm doing. So my body's ready for a changed workout a little bit anyways.
Right.
So my question, since I'm going to be doing it, people, is should like the floor, coffee table or countertop, should I stick with one for like a week or two and then mix it up and kind of work different muscles? How should I mix that up?
Well, my primary reason why I put those 3 choices in there is because some people can't do push-ups on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, so, and if they can't do push-ups on the floor, well, then they could go up to, say, like a coffee table or a dining room table, or, even like the side of your couch or something like that, and see if you can do push-ups that way. Or you can use like a kitchen, counter, which is even higher.
Right.
So that you can build up the strength at that level, and then as you get stronger and better, you can try doing a couple at a lower level. So, like, I have one of my clients, she's 66. She's ranked number 2 in the country at her age group in the 100-meter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, like a female Benny Myers.
Yeah, exactly. So she came to me, with shoulder and issues and stuff like that, and now she's one of the top senior sprinters in the world. And when she first started, and we started doing things like push-ups, I had her doing them at a little bit below like a countertop level or something like that. And we just kept working it down inch by inch by inch by inch over, the months and the years and that sort of thing. And now she can do 15 push-ups on the floor at 66 years old.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I already look bad. We ain't even got... Dang. Oh, that hurts.
So, but it's simple. It's simple body weight exercises, and your body really responds to that. And like you said, out there on the field, we pretty much have our body, and that's it. And so when you're playing defense, and if that ball bounces off of you or right over you or something like that, it's that having that strength with the push-up that can get you to that ball that much quicker so that you can, make the play.
In beat ball terms, the difference between being able to make a hustle play and not being able to make a hustle play.
Exactly.
Hustle plays, that's something on the dogs, and obviously I'm going to have to, this would be for the defensive show. But I mean, that is something that we worked hard on as dogs, is hustle plays. I mean, we had drill, you know what I mean?
Oh.
And I gotta give all the credit to Don. That was all him, Don Robinson. You know what I mean? He hated you players who like miss a ball and like hit the ground like darn. You'd be finding pine. I promise you that. You hit the ground and waste time on what you didn't do rather than getting your behind moving after the ball. Man, he didn't tolerate none of that. So actually, this kind of fits right into that, because the other thing I wanted to touch on, your 10 get-ups. So, will you explain the get-ups a little bit and how you would like to have them done before I ask any questions? All right.
Yep. So the get-ups that I put in the program, and if I look, I think they're right after the push-ups too. Yes, they are. So, is basically just laying down on your back, and they're specific. Like, I kind of took this from a weightlifting move that I don't remember who came up with it. It's called a Turkish get-up, where you actually hold a weight while you do this. But you start laying on your back, and then you basically get up to a standing position. And to make this simple, I don't put any rules on how people get up to their feet. I don't really care, other than the fact that if they like roll onto their left side and pull their right leg out in front and come up into a lunge stance and come up that way, that's fine. But then the next time they do it, I want them rolling over to the right side and bringing their left leg out. I just want them to do it in both directions so that you get really used to just getting up from the ground and going back down to the floor. And a number of things come with it. This isn't just for beat ball. This is just for life in general. There's so many people as they get older, they're like going, oh, gee, I just can't even get up off the floor.
I'm falling and I can't get up.
Yeah, exactly. The famous commercial, man. It's like, to be able to just get up off the floor. So it works flexibility, it works coordination, it works a lot of different muscles all at the same time. And since you're fighting gravity with your own body weight, it's like great. And once again, you need absolutely nothing to do it.
No, absolutely true, and that's why I wanted you to explain, like you know that I was went through training to be a massage therapist and worked years ago as a massage therapist, and coming up like because our head's so heavy.
Right,
We would preach like getting when somebody would get off the table if they had been laying on their back to roll over their side and push up rather than just coming straight up because it puts strain on your lower back.
right.
So that's why I wanted you to explain it. And so should we do 10 on each side? Is that what you're saying, or 10?
Um, so I would split it up. I'd go like five on each side to start, but then eventually
Right.
you could get up to doing 10 on each side.
All right.
So, and that sort of thing to where you go in each direction. But yeah, a lot of it's just a matter of, however people typically get up, getting from the floor. And then, the other fun part is you can play around with it and you can get in different positions. You can lay on your stomach and get up from the floor that way. You can lay on a
So
side.
it's just 10 getting up and try to balance out whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's just 10 getting up and then getting back down so that you just, working your body going up and then going back down.
All right. So, everything's perspective, right? I mean, I asked you to give like a bare minimum that nobody could say, well, I can't do that because, and that's what you gave me. I mean, I can imagine. Can you imagine if we gave this workout to Danny Fapiano and said that's all he's going to be doing? What? I got to train for a 5-day tournament. I now you lifting iron. His head would explode. So, look for experienced, for you players that are really experienced. I know there's a lot more stuff that you do, but don't ignore. He came up with this stuff with beat ball in mind. So maybe try to, if you're more experienced, try to integrate what you do with some of this stuff. But for those of you that are at home not doing anything, whether the tournament's going to happen or not, you better start doing this. At least this.
Yeah.
At least this.
It's something that's really simple and really basic that can get you a long way, especially right now. No one's practicing. No one's, training. And, hopefully the World Series still happens. But one way or the other, we're going to get less practice time in between, now and the series than, most teams normally do, most likely. And therefore, you need to be ahead of the game when they start opening up the park so we can get back out there again. So that's the key. Otherwise, everybody's going to end up being hurt.
And when I read that you allowed the minimum of doing this, like one time, once a week, I was like, man, I asked Mike to be too soft. So,
Well, but once again, consistency.
no,
Improvements, even if you do it just once a week.
right. I feel you, and I'm not trying to clown that. I'm not.
Yeah,
I
get that, but
it,
it's so much. I mean, there's so many times that people go, oh, how much do I need to work out, blah blah blah. I've got tons of clients that only train once a week, and that's it, and they make amazing improvements. So, and it's just a matter of when you do it, focus on that and nothing else, and you will improve. I guarantee it.
and you wrote that at the top of your workout thing, and it's included in what I'm going to post. So I did leave that in. I thought that was important that you included that. Do you have anything else on the working out part before we dive into running?
Make sure to do the warm up first, and I'm glancing down stuff. No, I'm pretty good, but it's just like that last little note I just said. Consistency is key.
Right.
So it's more about getting pick the number of times you're going to do each week and stick to it and get it done. And for those of you that are advanced, this is a great thing to do on your days off in between. It'll help you recover so that you're, if those of you the Danny Fapianos out there in the world, if you do this on your day off, it will help your body recover so the next day that you train hard, you'll actually be able to train harder.
I gotta say, my Fapiano impression was perfect. By the way, All right, so running, and again, I'm going to be posting your running workout. I mean, you can highlight whatever you want. You know, you obviously you're going to have the floor. Um, something we talked about on the little test we did last night, but nobody heard but me, I guess, and you and
Right.
Andrea. um, is something again we switched as in philosophy as the dogs. Once you got done with all your training, is we saved our running for the end of practice. For years and years, about any team I played with, and I know there's teams out there that are still doing it now. You know, we get at the beginning all stretched out, and then run 5 or 6 sprints or whatever. And the sprints, the running the bases, whether you're going 75% or 100, takes more out of you than anything else in our game. That's why it's so important to train for the running. So we switched philosophy, and it's something I'd like you to highlight on. Rather than like just going down the whole workout, since I'm going to post it, give people an idea of the kind of running they should do, and how they should be doing their running at practices.
Okay. So, well, the big thing in a practice, especially if you're gonna break it down to where you only have enough people and enough volunteers to kind of only do one thing at a time. You want to focus on the technical things first, like defense. Defense requires all of your nervous system. You're moving in every plane of motion. You're having to listen for the ball and dive and everything else. And so that's the most demanding on the nervous system because you're reacting to something else that's moving. So that's why you want to wait for your running until after you do that, or at least after you've done some of that, so that you get the maximum out of your defensive practice. If you practice defense when you're already really wiped out and tired, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it.
Right.
So that's not really the way to go. But with running, once again, we go back to, plays only last 6 seconds. So even though, yes, long ago I ran all the way to Neil's house, and then would practice for
Run Forrest
4 or 5 hours in 100-degree temperatures in Sacramento, and then run all the way back home, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, because all of that distance running is actually going to make you slower. Over time, it's only the people that are really I was running at a pace that was relaxing for me, and therefore it wasn't hard for me to actually run that far. I know it sounds funny, but even in the movie, when you look at Forrest Gump, I mean, what did he run for? Like 4 years?
His whole life, I think. But
right.
that comment that you just said, I don't even understand. I was running at a pace that was relaxing for me. I've never found any relaxation in any running I've ever done in my life. I just want for the record.
Yeah, well, that's something else that goes back pretty far. One of my stepdads was a Navy frogman, and he taught me how to relax while exercising. So that I could be, doing something really strenuous and intense, but be very relaxed at the same time.
Right.
So the kind of running we really want to do is what we end up doing on the field. Running, when you run to base, it's 100 feet, which is, roughly around 40 yards. So your running should be, 40, 50 yards, good solid sprinting. Once again, I put in a warm-up where, after you do some of the little warm-up activities, you do a couple of 40-yard sprints, but at a lower intensity level, like 60% and 70% and 80%, and you build yourself up and you get your body ready to actually going and doing really hard sprints at 95 to 100% best that you can, because you need to practice And once again, this running workout I put at the top too. Once a week, twice a week at most, with a long time of rest in between. We want to sprint and put 100% effort in, and then we want to fully recover. So a good 3 to 4 minutes of recovery in between each sprint. Because if you condition, I mean, this comes from Charlie Francis, one of the great sprint coaches that actually John Bancroft went to school with at Stanford.
John Pop?
Yeah.
I love me some John Pop.
So he went to school with Charlie Francis, who was the coach of Ben Johnson.
Oh, okay. The
Canadian,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, and his big thing is, train slow, be slow. And it's pretty much what the system that almost everybody's basing their systems off of now is the fact that, you're just wasting time if you're training at less than 100%. So it's train at 100% and then rest long enough so that you can do 100% again, because it's the only way you're actually going to improve and get faster. So, and that's why, those rest times that I put in here of 2 to 3 minutes is to allow you to, your nervous system to recover enough so that you can move your limbs fast enough and sprint at full speed again. So that's like the biggest mistake that I see in, all speed programs is not enough recovery time. I've consulted with a handful of track teams. Up in the previous 2 years, I was working with one of the high school teams near my house. And, when I first got invited to help out with the team, I was talking with the head coach, and I was like, okay, well, what do you do with the kids? And he's like, oh, I just run them to death. And I'm like, oh, geez. I'm like, great, and so big thing was, it's like, look, that's not going to make them faster. It's only going to increase the chance of injury and teach them how to run slower because they're going to be tired. And so therefore, the workout, the way I have it, once you get all warmed up and everything, the first week I have, 3 sprints at 100% with 3 to 4 minutes rest, and that's it. So, so that you are fresh for all 3 of those. And then there's other activities after that, but that's what you really need. And then, after a week or 2 of that, you can jump up to 4 and, and slowly add on. But if you sprint and be tired, you're not helping yourself. You're just creating bad habits.
Boom. Boom. Man, when I announced in the Beepball Nation that you agreed to come on the show, I used the words something along the lines, not verbatim, but something along the lines of the amount of, I can't even put a price on the amount of free help that is coming your way. And I didn't want to just post workouts and talk about the workouts. That they can copy and have to themselves. I wanted some concept behind it, and you nailed it all the way through, Mikey, man. Big ups to you. Thanks so much for.
Oh, you're welcome. But
for all of this.
It's so key. It's basics are really important. But if you do the basics right, you get way more out of them than if you're doing the basics, in a wrong way or in a wrong order, or, you can just, it's so much easier to get, extra out of them. And that is, and that's the key. And that's what I spend all of my, I shouldn't say all of my time, but a good portion of my time doing is trying to figure out the best way that I can get what I want out of my athletes in the shortest period of time possible. Sometimes people come to me and they're like, oh yeah, I've got 40 minutes to train a week and that's it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then what's, I got to figure out what's the highest priority thing that I need to be working on in that 40-minute period of time with that person to get them, better and where they want to go.
I know you. If they'll give their 100% focus during that 40 minutes, you'll make that 40 minutes work.
Yeah, that's the key. That's it's why people ask me all the time. They're going, "Oh, you must work out all the time." I'm like, "Man, I'm not a big workout junkie."
All right. No, that is something I took note of. Is once you became the guru that you did, in
Yep.
my words, not that proclaim that, but I call you a guru. You worked out less then than you did like beforehand. You know what I mean? It was just
Yep.
all so much more focused and pinpointed, and just using your time to do exactly what you need to do, and leaving it at that.
That's why I am a performance and recovery coach now. I spend more time doing things like Tai Chi and Qigong and sitting in infrared sauna, listening to a book and things like that, and focusing on preparing my body for my next training session. So, which might be like 2 days away. So that when that training session comes, I'm hammering it home, because it'll only be an hour and I'll be hitting it real hard for that hour, but then I won't train again for like 2 more days.
Well, I when I've been posting stuff from you, and when I post the workouts, um, I include your website. It's not. It might look like it's the way Mikey is sending it to me when I share it with you guys in the Beepball Nation. But really, I'm just copying the body of his email, and all the in health and happiness with his website. That's at the bottom of all his emails. I leave it in there because I believe he deserves it. I mean, everything he has been willing to share with us. He deserves a plug. He deserves having you people click on the link, go check out his website, learn more about Mike and all his greatness. And honestly, I think we should just end it on a good note. I don't think we should necessarily go down any shameful avenues at this point.
Oh, well, here's the other thing too. If they go to my website, right at the top, you can put in your email address and your name and get my free ebook that's right on there. It's like a 50-page ebook. There's tons more covered in there about nutrition and lifestyle and exercise. There's stuff on there on exercise and more information on what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, things like that. That's all in there. And then that also will put your email address into my very infrequent newsletter that goes out.
Yeah, you will not receive a lot of these emails, I promise you.
I'm not a once a day or once a week.
No.
It's more like once a month.
I forget I'm on
free information to everybody on my email list, and so that they can continue to be working on themselves and get better.
I forget I'm on your email list until something just pops up. Like I probably between now and Christmas won't see anything, but you're really good about sending out helpful hints. Which those are things I share on my own Facebook page. But you mentioned your ebook, and when I copied the email you sent out to your email list earlier in the week about things to keep in mind while hibernating, and I copied that into the Beepball Nation, and it included the links for your ebook. So people have already had one shot at it, but it's good to give it a plug and send them out there. In your list of instructions, I had an issue right out of the gate with you, Mike. You're like, avoid all binge eating. And I'm like, this dude forgot how great binge eating is. That's his problem. He doesn't remember. Mike, do you remember bringing me 5-pound bags of M&Ms?
Yeah.
You brought those to me, Mikey. 5-pound bag, and you'd help me eat about a pound before you ran home. All right. Would you rather us just get out of here without me admitting anything? Would you rather love me the way I am instead of the way you may be in the?
Well, you kind of confessed, said you were going to do it.
Ah,
You need
Mikey,
to be a stand-up guy and follow through.
I don't want to be a stand-up guy right now. This one's tough, Mikey. I've never told anybody this. A little background. So after I quit playing, I do a good job of following your meats and vegetables advice. I mix my meats and vegetables together. You know what I mean? I eat them together. I usually I try. I guess I don't weigh things out in cups. So I try to do a mix of kind of like 1/3 fruit and 2/3 vegetable. Like one
Nice.
meal I'll have with fruit, and the other meals I have with vegetables.
Perfect.
I only allow myself like 2 slices of bread a day. If I don't necessarily eat bread every day, but I can't say never. I'm guilty, but my rule is to not have more than 2 slices of bread in a day.
Okay.
So for a long time, for those of you that have never seen me, I'm 5'11", and at the end of my career, Mikey had me knocking really solid at like 185. There were a couple tournaments I was even a little bit under 185. Truth be told, it's usually probably between 185 and 190. I did a good job for a long time. Like 195 would be my okay. I'm being a bad boy. I gotta get focused again. I don't know when. It wasn't a conscious effort to do so, Mikey. At some point, I gave up because I just woke up one day.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say this. I was 2.25, Mike Dog.
Yeah.
2.25.
Yeah.
2.25. You know my dad. Those who aren't familiar with Bam Bam likes to call me and my dad Ralph Mouth and his dad because we're both clowns or whatever. I had actually at this point, like around, I think this was Christmas, either Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I was back down around 2:15, working my way down, and I'm standing in the dining room at my brother's house. My 92-year-old dad with everybody around just looking across the table at me. I was standing up. Like, how big are you now anyway? Like 230? It's like, oh, man, I'm finally going the right direction. And he just broke out the hammer and slammed me, Mike Dog. So I'm happy to tell you that just in this last week, for the first time in a long time, I slipped under 200. Back
Nice.
under 200. It's helped that I can't get treats right now. Sugar is still my largest weakness by far. That's what did the 225. I didn't start drinking again. I didn't start eating, I mean, I ate bad things at times, but it wasn't all the time. It was the stupid sugar. I love me some sugar.
Oh, me too.
But I have dipped back under 200. Mike Dog, I've been stalling though. I haven't the 2.25. That's not my shameful secret. There are some that knew that, and hearing my talking scale say 225 is not what helped me go back the other direction, Mike Dog.
But well, let me throw something on that.
All right.
So, couple quick things.
All right.
So number one, it's like I'm not judgmental. I don't care.
I know.
I get clients that come to me that are like 400 pounds. So, and I tell them straight up, I'm like, hey, if you want to be 400 pounds, be 400 pounds. It's all good. It's your choice. So, but if you want to be, lighter and healthier and live a longer life and, take less medication in your life and everything else, then get lighter. It's, makes life easier. So, but especially in sport, since we're talking about beep ball, so you have to understand the fact that, once again, it's you and your body out there. And so it is all about being like a dragster. It's a power to weight ratio. And so the easiest thing to be faster and better offensively and defensively is to take off a couple extra pounds. So, and that way, you can be a bit quicker. So they haven't been able to do really good studies with humans, but this was like last track season. So last summer I was looking at some studies out there that they did on racehorses. So, and racehorses weigh, well over 1,000 pounds. And they found that in a 60-yard race with a racehorse that weighs over 1,000 pounds, if they just gained 2 pounds, it added a 0.02 seconds to their 60-yard time. And that's 2 pounds on an over 1,000-pound animal. So if you add 2 pounds to a human, it's way more than that.
I know for a fact that I'm not the only beatball player that's more than 2 pounds overweight.
Right. I mean, and that's,
Put that in perspective, people.
It's not a matter of the fact that you got to be, completely leaned out and ripped up or blah, 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 blah. But, if you do want to get a little bit quicker, the easiest way to do it is to drop like 5 pounds. So just eat healthy, a little bit fewer treats, a little bit fewer alcohol, whatever it is that's, putting the calories over the top, and drop that down into where, you drop a couple pounds off. And that will make you a little bit quicker and a little bit more agile and everything else. So that's the key. That's what's kept me, going for all these years and that sort of thing. So.
All right. You ready to hear what actually helped turn the corner?
What turned the corner?
All right. So I promised everybody to keep the show PG-13, so don't worry, I won't go too in depth. But let's just say, hypothetically, I don't wear jammies to bed. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I was thirsty. So I was going to the kitchen to get a drink of water. And you've been in my house a million times. You know the area where you come from, the bedrooms, and go across like the little tile entryway and then into the kitchen?
Yep. I'm
going across the entryway and I hear somebody behind me. And I instantly turned around like with my arms up. I felt good because I had my weapon at that moment, and it was out. I felt like I was ready to go to war. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. I move around, look around, and it's like, man, what the heck was that? I turn around, heading back to the kitchen, hear the noise again. Mike Dog, I had developed so much junk in my trunk, it was making noise behind me, Mike Dog. I thought another human being was following me, Mike. And I just went to the kitchen and bent over the counter. It's like, okay, it's time. This is fun. I wondered what would help. That noise scaring me in so many ways is what helped, Mike Dog. I've never told anybody that, and I hope you just keep it between me and you. I told in the post I wrote in Beatball Nation, I was like, man, people who love me and people that hate me both are getting a treat tonight.
That's good funny stuff.
Oh, man. It hurt, Mike Dog.
Good funny stuff.
All right, brother. Dude, I love you, man. Your family, your wife's family. I hope you and your son, you guys are all safe, healthy, be smart. I know you are. Don't have to worry about you.
Yep, and I hope everybody else safe, healthy, and, everybody take care of yourselves. We'll all be back at it soon.
All right, everybody, man, enjoy this. I looked so forward to this. I hope you find it as valuable as I wanted it to be. Get out there and get to work, people. I'm doing this workout twice this week. So any of you clowns that want to play at the World Series better be more committed than me. And oh, the running workout. I told him, Mike, you better just get in your heart ahead of time that you're going to do it, because when you start reading it, you're going to be the world gone crazy. All right, people. We will be back next week, hopefully with A Dog. I don't know. I'm going to call Apple about that. We'll be back next week with Jared Woodard, talk about pitching. Everybody be safe, healthy, and smart. We'll see you next week. And whoo, uh, trying to find the button, Mike. Yay, finish.